Good evening, everyone. So yesterday we learnt about modules. So we discussed about modules in JavaScript. So actually, because you are using those module systems in Node.js, you need to know about the modules in JavaScript. And we learnt about module systems. Different types of module systems are there. Common JS, and we have UMD, AMD, and we have ES module system. These are different types of module systems. What is the advantage of module? Modules enable reusability. They make the application lightweight. They are easy to maintain, extend, and test. So using modules will enable lot of facilities. It will enable lot of facilities. It is going to enable module systems, common JS, UMD, AMD. These are all enabling the features like reusability, maintainability, extensibility, testability. All these we can achieve by using this. Now, how this module works and how to use these module systems. Let's see one example. Actually, this module system is a part of your JavaScript object-oriented approach. So here we will see how to use server side, how we can use the module server side. Yesterday, one situation I explained. What is the situation? We have to open, means we have to import entire JavaScript file to use specific functions. But with modular approach, we can import only what is needed and we can implement. So we will see how this module system is going to work. Now the question is, what is considered as a module and what a module can have? What a module can have in JavaScript. So let's see the point. Actually, for this, you need to understand some concept of JavaScript OOP. We need to know about the concept of JavaScript object-oriented programming. We are going to see this, which you can implement both client side as well as server side. That means these concepts you can implement both client side and server side. Client side with your HTML you can implement. Server side with our node we are going to implement. So let's see what are these concepts and how they work. So first you need to understand some concepts here. That is because in this several people are attending without complete JavaScript knowledge. And some people are not even attending JavaScript and directly coming to this backend session sometimes. Few people are there. That's the reason we need to refresh all these concepts to use in our Node.js. Right? So actually, what is the point you know already? So computer programming computer programming systems, computer programming systems that are used for real world application development, used for real world application development are classified into following. So what are those? We have POPS, OBPS, another one is OP. We have three types of programming systems. Process-oriented programming system, object-based programming system, object-oriented programming system. Three important are there. 1 minute, give me 1 minute, I will be back. Right. So here we have three types of programming systems very commonly used. First one is process oriented programming system. So this is actually POPS. POPS is process oriented programming system. Process oriented programming system. Process oriented programming system. What is the key point about this is the point about POPS, process oriented programming system, is actually POPS. It is you can say it is lightweight, so and faster. It can directly interact with hardware services. Actually, it supports low level features. It can directly interact with hardware services, and it supports low level features. Low level features. So it is lightweight, means it uses less memory and it is faster. It can directly interact with hardware services and it supports low level features. Example for this is you have C, Pascal, like these comes under category of POPS, process-oriented programming system. Process-oriented programming system, these are the key points. So process-oriented programming system allows low-level features which can directly interact with hardware. They are lightweight and faster. So, but they have issues. What are the issues is, the major issues we have reusability and extensibility issues are there. Reusability and extensibility issues are there. So dynamic memory issues are there. These are all the problems of POPS, process oriented programming system. Reusability, extensibility, dynamic memory allocation, these are all the problems of POPS, process oriented programming system. You see, generally when you are using embedded systems, you know, you are using refrigerator, microwave, air condition, washing machine. They are controlled with a program. You have buttons, you can control the temperature, you can control the compressor on off, you can control the speed of fan. All these are embedded with a program with a small chip inside it. And what you have seen is they can directly control hardware device. Hardware means fan, compressor, directly they can control. They need very less memory. Have you ever seen refrigerator, washing machine or microwave, their softwares updated? No? Have you ever seen their software updated, some features changing after you buy it? They are fixed. At the time of manufacturing, what they put in that chip, the same will be till they die. They have to work with same. Can anybody modify that programming? That's not possible easily, right? So they are lightweight, they are faster, but reusability, extensibility, these are all the issues. So this is one programming system, POPS, process oriented. Another we have OBPS. OBPS is object based programming system. Object based programming system. Object based programming system. Object based programming system enables reusability and limited extensibility. Not complete extensibility, limited extensibility. Supports dynamic memory. It is going to support dynamic memory. It supports dynamic memory. So it is, when compared to POPS, it is little better, but it also has some issues. Example for this is JavaScript, Visual Basic, VB. All these comes under OBPS, Object Based Programming System. Object Based Programming System. Here again we have some issues. What are the issues is, it is not an OOP language. Only some features are supported related to what? OOP. Then what is the issue here is extensibility issues are there. Extensibility, code level security issues are there. Extensibility issues, code level security issues are present. It is not completely extendable easily. It will not support code level security. No template mechanism. So what is template? Later you will learn when you learn about the language like TypeScript. When you learn about TypeScript, you will understand about that. You will learn about some OOP concepts there. So these are limitations of OBPS, object-based programming. So your JavaScript is not OOP language. It is an object-based programming language. So now we have OOP. Our JavaScript is not OOP, but we should know what are the points about OOP. OOP supports reusability. It supports extensibility. It supports code level security. It supports templates. So it supports so many more features. All are not required to discuss here. Example is what? C++, Java, C#. These all comes under OOP languages. Object-oriented programming system. Object-oriented programming system, object-based programming system and all. Already you know the full form of this, huh? Object-oriented programming system. Reusability, extensibility and all. What are the drawbacks of OOPs? OOP is also having some drawbacks. That's the reason we don't recommend to use OOP everywhere. OOP have drawbacks, so many. The point with OOP is it is complex and tedious. It is complex and tedious. Tedious means very heavy, very slow, very lazy, not immediately responding. All this comes under the point of what? Tedious. The meaning of tedious? Tedious is general English term. Tedious means it is very lazy, it is very slow, it is very heavy. We call these as what? Tedious. They don't respond immediately. That means cannot directly interact with the hardware services. Cannot directly interact with hardware services. Cannot directly interact with hardware services. So it will not support low level features. It will not support low level features. So it is means tedious means already we discussed it, but the point I will say it is heavy and slow. It is heavy and slow. These are all the key points about OOP. So object-oriented programming is not a great programming every time. It has so many drawbacks. That's the reason everywhere we cannot implement this. Actually, because of these complex features, it is very heavy. It needs more memory. It is very slow in interactions. In modern programming, in libraries and frameworks, we avoid using complete feature of OOP because of these drawbacks. For example, OOP language completely built with the concept of what uh, it is completely built with the concept of classes. It is completely built with the concept of class. Object-oriented programming, it is completely built with classes, objects, and all. But classes are supported but not recommended for certain type of environments. They are good, but they are not recommended. For example, I will show you, means we see, suppose we have, you will learn React.js like technology. When you learn React.js technology, so you will see, let me show you a point here. So here we are having some React. What is it? One option is components, impure components. Yeah. You see, this is React pure component we have. This is the component. You see, actually, observe here, what is the concept is class components are still supported by what? React, but we don't recommend using them in the new code. That means React people says that OOP features are very good. We will support them, but we don't recommend them. That means earlier we used to use lot of classes everywhere. But now in JavaScript based applications also, better not to use classes. Better to use functions. You see, they say that don't recommend. That means what they say, that better use. So we recommend defining components as functions instead of what? Classes. Classes are supported. They are good. And React, like this is official React website. And React is from whom? React is from Meta community na Facebook. Right? So officially they say that all these days we are using, we still support them, but we don't recommend them anymore. Better avoid them. So because in a module system, you will find this, instead of classes, we can use what? Functions. That means in the modern JavaScript based technologies, we recommend majority of what? Functions. Instead of going with what? Classes. But in some occasions, classes are required. That's the reason they will not completely eliminate them. They will say that we support, but we don't recommend. Because whatever you need with a class, now JavaScript functions can do them. They support such features. That's the reason better to follow the techniques. So you just need to know that object-oriented programming is not great. It also has so many issues and it doesn't suit for many situations. We don't recommend for many situations. That is one important you should know, right? So in real world project development, application development, we have different types of programming systems. In this, now we are going to use JavaScript, which is not an object oriented. It is an what? Object based. It supports limited features of OOP. It's not a OOP language. It supports so many techniques in that some OOP techniques are helpful. We can use them. Let's see. In this first important, you need to understand about module. Already yesterday we discussed the point. Now we need to understand here. The question here is module. So JavaScript module. So JavaScript module, you need to understand module. So a module comprises of values, functions, and classes. A module comprises of values, functions, and classes. Right? It contains values, functions, and classes. What you can do is, that means you can create a factory. You can create a factory with module. You can create a factory with module. Yesterday already I told you factory is a collection of values. So collection of values and functions. You can create a factory with module. You can build an application by using modules. You can build an application by using modules. You can build an application by using module. Actually, all applications are modular. All applications are now modular. You can build application using modules. Actually, when you are working in a project environment, you will see some more points. So when you are working on project environment, you will see some more points. You see, suppose we are having any business application. So what is the business application is, suppose we have like HDFC Bank, some hdfcbank.com. Okay. When you open this application, you will see this HDFC Bank application have a lot of features. Now, at the top level, you can see they are having personal banking module, NRI module, SME module, wholesale. These are all modules. That means for one type of service, one module is used. Another service, another module. Application is built with all these modules. That means personal banking related all services are in personal banking module. Similarly, NRI related services are in NRI module. That means it is having a module. Modules, these are all modules. Every module will have related type of functionalities, related type of values and all. So technically every application is built by using what? Modules. So you can build a library so that anyone can use that library and can build the application. What is advantage of module system? So application with modules enables features like reusability, extensibility, maintainability, testability. These all type of features are supported. Application with modules enable features like reusability, extensibility, maintainability, and testability. We can easily reuse the application. We can easily extend the application, maintain, test the application. So every JavaScript file is considered as a module. Every JavaScript file is considered as a module. Every JavaScript file is considered as a module. That means you create one JavaScript file. That file is considered as a module. For example, you created home.js. So depending on module system, you have CJS, you have MJS, you have only JS, depending on module system. For specific module system, you need specific type of extension, depending on the module system. Some module systems understands multiple extensions. So depending on module system, you have to configure the extension. So JavaScript file is considered as a module. Now, what is the module name? Module name is home. Home is the module name. The file name is considered as the module name. So what is the file name? Home. Then the module name is also home. Now what you can have in this module? In this module, you can have values. You can have what? Functions. You can have functions and you can have classes. All these you can have. You can configure all these in a module. For example, let's see. We will go to the project that we created yesterday. We will go to the project we created yesterday, that is server app. Yeah. We are going to the project that we created. This is the project we are having. Now in this, we will create one JavaScript file. What we will do is, we will maintain here, delete this. We will maintain a separate folder and we will maintain the folder name src. Some src contains dynamic file. We will have an src folder. In that we will keep all the dynamic files. Now here I will use this only for my JavaScript files. Okay, in this I will add a new file. Suppose I am using the file name as math.js, or I will say some calculator.js. I am using calculator.js. That is a JavaScript file. Now this JavaScript file can have some values. It can have functions. You can configure them and define. For example, I am creating a function, or I am creating a value, configuring a value or a function. Values are configured using var, let, const. You can configure and define them. Suppose you are using a val and some name, some uname is equal to some value. Here all JavaScript language basics are same. Variables, data types, operators, statements, functions, all the concepts are same. There is no change in that. So we have a value called username. So we are having, or say, we will put a value called title, because I am giving calculator here. So calculator app, that is the title. Okay, we have a function, and what that function is going to do. So function have a print title, print title function is going to return the title. That means we are going to return the title. So we have a function called print title. It is going to return this title, some calculator app. In that, we are having some more functions like addition. It will take A and B as parameters and return A plus B. You have another function. So this is multiplication, A comma B, and it should return, what is it? A asterisk B. It will return A into B. Okay. Now what is the point? I want to use this in my app. That means I will create another file, app.js. In this, I want to use the calculator functions. I'm building an app. I want to use those calculator functions here. So then how we can access those functions and use them here? To access the functions and use them here, what we have to do? We need to first import those functions. We have to import the functions. Now, any variable, any function, any class that you defined in a module are not accessible outside. They're accessible only within the module. They're accessible only within the module, only inside the module. You cannot access outside the module. You can access only inside the module. To make them accessible outside the module, if I have to make them accessible outside the module, then we have to use the term export. We need to use the term export. That means I have to use export. Here, so many more differences are there. We will learn. Actually, this export allows you to access this outside. That means outside the scope. Here, depending on module system, we have exports. Exports is also a keyword used to export any library, export any function, export any value. Depending on module system, some module system use what? Export, and some module system use what? Exports. And currently, which module system we are using in Node? In Node, we are using which module system? CommonJS is the module system we are using. When you are using CommonJS module system, actually it uses the term exports. If you are using this in a browser, JavaScript module system uses export. I will show both of them. That means how JavaScript module system uses, how CommonJS module system uses. So initially, it is export. Here I am giving all as what? Export. I am configuring this as what? Export. Okay, first I want to use this functions in a JavaScript module system. In a JavaScript module system is not set up here. Currently, we are setting up which module system? CommonJS. But remember, when you installed and set up the project, you selected that I will run my code in browser as well as in Node. You selected both now, right? We selected both options. We will run in browser, we will run in Node. First, we will see in browser, then we will see in Node how they work actually. So, what is the JavaScript module system? JavaScript module system uses which term? Export. And how do we access and use in any HTML page? I will add a app.html page. In app HTML page, we have to define script. And this script type must be module. The script type module enables the JavaScript module system called, which JavaScript module system is what? JavaScript module system is ES. ES module system it will enable. That means in the browser, it will use ES module system. In ES module system, how to compile, how to import? We have to use the statement import. Import, what to import? So we need to import. Suppose I want to import. So this function called print title. I want to import that print title, then print title. Okay, from where to import? You have to import dot slash. It is from which file? Calculator. Calculator dot what? JS. Now see what happens here is it is going to consider this calculator.js. That means print title is imported from calculator.js. This calculator.js is a module. From this module, you are importing only one function. Okay, now I want to print that in some heading or paragraph. That means what we do, document dot what? Query selector, document dot query selector. Which one? Heading 2 dot inner HTML. We want to display what it is? Print title. That means when you run this, it is going to print the title and display the title. Whatever, because print title is returning a function. It is returning a function. And remember, in this, we are not exporting this variable. No need, because this variable is used here inside. And the result of this will be exported. Then we can just access the result and we can use the result. So now another point is now I want some paragraph here. That means suppose just put some paragraph and I want some multiplication or something. Then I have to import another one. What is it? Suppose addition. And how do we define document dot query selector? What is it? Paragraph inner HTML is equal to what is it? Addition. I will just give a message here. So that is addition is equal to, here we have addition and we have some 20 comma 30 like this. And what it is going to do, show the result of that here. This is one concept of a module system, how you use in a browser. Now, what is advantage of this? Any changes in this module, it will update everywhere. It is cleanly separated. It is modular, lightweight, faster when compared to the other techniques you use. So this is basic of one JavaScript module system. JavaScript module system. So here, what is the point? So here I will give a point concept like JavaScript module system, or we will say ES module. JavaScript module system or ES module. JavaScript module system or ES module. Now here, so browsers can use ES module system when script is configured with browsers can use ES module system when script is configured with, it is configured with which one? With MIME type as module. With MIME type as module. Actually, if you don't give MIME type module, by default it is considered as script type as text JavaScript. You write text / JavaScript na? Right. Here we have script type is equal to what? Module. That's important. And ES module requires ES module requires export keyword, in order to export any function or class. In order to export any function or class from module. Syntactically, how you do export function name. We have like export class name. Later you will see expressions also, how to export them. Variables, values, functions, expressions, how do we export? So ES module requires export keyword in order to configure them, right? Next. Another option is you can use import keyword. You have to use, right? Not can. You have to use import keyword to import the functions or classes. To import the functions or classes. So import, and you have the function name, class name from, what is it, module. You need to define the module name. Right. You have to define import and export. Right. So we have import, and that is for importing and using them. Here, so many things will be there in this modular approach you will learn. Initially, that's the basic thing we done. And one more point is, every module can have one function or class as default. Any module, every module can have one as default export. What is the advantage of default export is, actually what is this export? This export is nothing but it will load and it will be ready, and you have to just use it. But default export, what is the point about default export is, it is exported by default whenever the module is configured. Whenever the module is configured, that means what it is doing, it is using a mechanism called eager loading. This is using a mechanism called as lazy load. That means it eagerly loads and keeps it ready. Even you are not using, it is in the memory. It is in the memory. Sometimes what we want, some values we want to initialize. That initialization should be immediately after the module loaded into memory. After initialization, rest of them we will access and use. Whatever need to be initialized immediately after loading the module into memory, that you can configure as what? Default. And here important is, every module can have only one default. That means only one function can be defined as default, one member, either one class or either one function. Only one member can be default. Others are not default. Others are not default. And if it is default, multiply is given as default. If it is default here, you cannot import that by using this block. You have to import directly before the block. Before the block, we have to import as what? Multiply. You have to import like this, directly multiply. You cannot import in a block. This block indicates load when it is requested and end when it is completed. This indicates load and keep it ready. And until you are using this application, it will be available in the memory. This will be loaded when requested, and this will be ended when it is finished. But this is kept in the memory so that we can continue using it. Default members need to be defined like this. If you put the default member also like this, then you will have an issue. Suppose I write like this, multiply, and I want to print a next line here. What is it? Multiply is equal to, what is the function name? Multiply, and into that 2 comma 5. And you can see that actually it shows an error now. You can see it shows an error. So that means requested module calculator.js does not provide export name multiply. But there is an export by name multiply, but that multiply is a default export now. That means we should not write like this. What we have to do, we need to configure as what? Multiply. We need to configure multiply. Now it is working fine. And it should be, before you import this, it should be configured here. That means you can import only what you need and you can configure only what you need. That you can manage by using this. So when you are exporting, one more important option is there. Every module can have one default export. Every module can have one default export. Every module can have one default export. Default export. So a default export member, enables eager loading of values and functions. Enable eager loading of values and functions. Eager loading of value and function. So how do we import that? We have import and the default name from module name. We need to define like this. Default name from the module name. So default name and the module name, right? That is the default export. Right. So in this, you need to know how do we configure and use them. One more option is that suppose if there are many to import, there are so many functions available, all of them we need. So then what you can do, you can import all members from any module by using the meta character. What is the meta character? Asterisk. By using the meta character asterisk. If you want, you can import all the members by using the meta character asterisk. It requires it requires an alias name to access all imported members. It requires an alias name to access all imported members. That means you can import all the members. So, and you can use all the members. But it requires so many other points also to understand. So we will see here. Initially, we can import like this. What is that? If I say import asterisk as we have to use the keyword as asterisk as some reference name from the module. So here reference from the module name. So what is the meaning of that? It will import all the members of this particular module. Am I right? Now those are accessed with the reference of this. That means with this reference, you can access these members. So when you imported, it needs a reference. All are imported. They need to be stored one reference name. And when you store in a reference, you can access through that reference. You can import all of them. That means how you import all the members here. How do you import all the members here? Generally, we can import like this. What is it? Import asterisk as reference name calc from cal from the calculator. That means now cal can access all of these functions. Then how do you access those functions? Suppose I want here. Let's remove this here temporarily. Suppose you see now we have problem print title is not defined. Suppose I am accessing what is it? Cal dot what? Print title. That means through calculator it can access. That means what is the reference? The reference is what? Cal. Through this reference you can access this. You can import all the members and you need a reference for that. Through that reference you can access. That means now here it is defining. So you see the other problems, addition not defined. Suppose here you use cal dot what? Here, what is that? Cal dot what? Addition. We have to use some cal dot what? Multiply. That means it is not showing. Why it is saying multiply is not a function? Why? Because multiply is default now. Default, you cannot import like this. For example, now you see here, how do we import the default? That means it is saying that it is not a function. So it is not a function. And you see now I am importing another one. Import, what is it? Multiply from what? Calculator dot what? JS. I am importing multiply from the calculator. It works now. Asterisk through asterisk, you cannot import all of them. You can import only the members which are not default. Then you have to import them like this. You need to configure them like this, right? That means here what is the key point? So important note, you cannot import default default member using asterisk meta character. You cannot import default member using asterisk. Actually, we can put a comma. Through asterisk, default will not come. We have to separately configure it. For example, suppose I am writing like this. I'm not using this multiply. Let's remove this. Then obviously multiply is not working. Suppose I am writing here, what is it? Multiply comma asterisk dot. Then it works. You can separate or you can import along with that. That means you can configure along with that. That means you cannot import default member using this asterisk, but you can import along with it. That means you can configure default along with other all other members. All other members. You can configure default along with all other members. You can configure default along with all other members. That means you can simply say import default member, comma, asterisk as reference from module name. So you can configure like this. So this is the concept of JS module system, ES module system. ES module systems, we need to use this. CJS is not like that. CJS have a different syntax. Every module system have different syntax. Better to know about two types of module systems. One is CJS, which you will regularly use. Another one is ES. For front end, you use the ES module system. For the back end, you use the CJS module system. So example here, what we have to do first, add a new folder, SRC, then add new file into SRC folder. Actually, HTML should be added in public, na? Right? I just kept in the same place. You can keep in a public folder separately. This is because just to test in front end. So what are the files we added? First one is what? One is calculator dot what? JS. Another app dot what? HTML. I will give the code of this calculator.js. I will copy this code. I will share this in the class. And in this JS, you need these all options defined. Now, in app.html, this is the code. This is the code in app.what.html. App.html, this is the code. This is one example to make you understand how to use a module system. And which module system we have used here? ES module system we have used. You have another one to see, and that is what? CJS, common JS module system. That we'll see in next session, right? Actually, today I have to leave little early, so I have an important work. So I have to end the session now, and we will continue in the next session, right? Tomorrow session, we'll see that. Okay, right. And one important is tomorrow check the classroom. So before you attend the class, because if I'm not available tomorrow, we will not have a session. I will post that update that tonight. So into the classroom. Okay. So check the classroom and come. Okay. Right. Yeah.